Well, hello, everybody. How are you doing? It's 8:30 India Standard Time, August 24th, Sunday, and today is oh my goodness, we're getting really close to the Silver Club being finished and the incentive program for doTERRA India. And so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And to get started, I'm going to head and recording this presentation as well so that way you have it to review later. I spent a lot of time working on getting this presentation prepared for you for today. And so I hope it's going to be inspiring and all those good things. So yes, we have 7 days left and super excited. And I bet all of you have been working super hard. And there's been so much going on emotionally. This whole Silver Club is designed to have you go through the ups and downs. And that's why we talked about mentoring and follow up and all these things are so important. And so I don't know if you're feeling like it's an explanation point after 7 days or if it's a period. And I want you to think about that for a minute. What is your excitement, your level of energy? How is it going? And let's take a minute and review all that. Our why with doTERRA is all about we help the world heal. And when I hear that, I get so inspired just in that whole aspect of why I sold my print shop, why I decided to step out of my comfort zone and share inside of India and help bring these beautiful oils to the world. And when I look back and think about people that I've helped get out of a wheelchair, and helped really make a difference with their MS, help make a difference with cancer. It's just something that you can't imagine what that feels like, right? You know, people can't believe that this is really possible. And I want to ask you, what is your belief level in that? When we first started the Silver Club, I shared with you all about the Steve Jobs. This was on my first slide that we talked about. And Steve Jobs invented Apple Computer. We all know about Apple, and I love this quote. The people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who actually do. And this has nothing to do with what people think of you, how shy you are, or how humble you are. It takes stepping out of your comfort zone and just living beyond who we are, but living in the space that we're making an impact for the world, right? And so when we look at some of the really famous people now, I'm not 100% sure if you guys know all about Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King is a leader here in the United States that was actually assassinated, and he was someone who was killed in his belief system because what he stood for. And here is a speech that he gave. I forget the year, but it was before I was born. And he gave a speech called I Have a Dream. And I will share this with you in the leaders group so you can watch it later. But when I listen to the speech, it's really inspiring. It's really impactful. And people are not following or did not follow Martin Luther King because of Martin Luther King. They didn't follow Steve Jobs because of Apple Computer. They followed the why. They followed the reason why being part of something bigger than themselves and that belief system and the ability to actually make an impact for the world. And when I hear about doTERRA's uh, dream, we help the world heal. That is just as big as aspiring as Steve Jobs and as Martin Luther King. And did you hear about the Wright brothers? The Wright brothers invented flight. They were humble, two guys who owned a bicycle shop. They had no money. They did not get funded by the government. They did not get sponsored by somebody. They did not have the press following them. They did not have social media. I mean, they didn't have a lot of things back in 1903 when they got started in this. And they just had a belief and a plan that they really truly wanted to take flight. And now look at today, how smaller the world is, that we can actually fly around the world and make an impact globally because of these two people. Now, this was kind of like the back in the day, it was something like really important, like the .com of the day, where people were trying to invent flight. There was another guy who actually got a lot of money from the government and had the New York Times following him around while he was trying to invent flight. And I'll show you a video here in a minute. This video, you guys, I sure hope you can hear it. I'll share this in the leaders group as well. It's about 18 minutes long, and I thought I would chop it out and make it shorter, make it different, but I decided not to because it's really impactful and I think it's perfect. I wish I would have shared it with you in the beginning, but I just found it. And I think this video is really perfect for where we are right now. And for our Nagaland team, I really believe you guys have this mindset. You're just not aware of it. And you actually come at it in a little bit different way. But I wanted to share with you, I don't know if you know who Simon Sinek is. He wrote this book, Start with Why. And I don't know if you can see my little visual picture, but the Start with Why book, we've shared with it over the years when I've been doing trainings and stuff like that. And it's a really powerful book, and it's something that we want to keep revisiting and keep looking at. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this video on and let me know if you can let me know in the chat if you can't hear it or if you can hear it okay. That would be really great. Okay. And it's a TED Talk. I don't know if you're familiar with the TED Talks that we have. They're really inspiring. Can you hear it okay, you guys?
How do you explain when things don't go as we assume? Or better,
Can you guys hear it, please? Can somebody please let me know? Satrangala, can you hear it?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for letting me know. I know sometimes recordings don't come through very well on a call, so
how do you explain when others are able to achieve things that seem to defy all of the assumptions? For example, why is Apple so innovative? Year after year after year after year, they're more innovative than all their competition. And yet they're just a computer company. They're just like everyone else. They have the same access to the same talent, the same agencies, the same consultants, the same media. Then why is it that they seem to have something different? Why is it that Martin Luther King led the civil rights movement? He wasn't the only man who suffered in a pre-civil rights America, and he certainly wasn't the only great orator of the day. Why him? And why is it that the Wright brothers were able to figure out controlled powered manned flight when there were certainly other teams who were better qualified, better funded, and they didn't achieve powered manned flight? The Wright brothers beat them to it. There's something else at play here. About 3.5 years ago, I made a discovery. And this discovery profoundly changed my view on how I thought the world worked, and it even profoundly changed the way in which I operate in it. As it turns out, there's a pattern. As it turns out, all the great and inspiring leaders and organizations in the world, whether it's Apple or Martin Luther King or the Wright brothers, they all think, act, and communicate the exact same way, and it's the complete opposite to everyone else. All I did was codify it. And it's probably the world's simplest idea. I call it the golden circle. Why, how, what? This little idea explains why some organizations and some leaders are able to inspire where others aren't. Let me define the terms really quickly. Every single person, every single organization on the planet knows what they do 100%. Some know how they do it, whether you call it your differentiating value proposition or your proprietary process or your USP. But very, very few people or organizations know why they do what they do. And by why, I don't mean to make a profit. That's a result. It's always a result. By why, I mean, what's your purpose? What's your cause? What's your belief? Why does your organization exist? Why do you get out of bed in the morning? And why should anyone care? Well, as a result, the way we think, the way we act, the way we communicate is from the outside in. It's obvious. We go from the clearest thing to the fuzziest thing. But the inspired leaders and the inspired organizations, regardless of their size, regardless of their industry, all think, act, and communicate from the inside out. Let me give you an example. I use Apple because they're easy to understand and everybody gets it. If Apple were like everyone else, a marketing message from them might sound like this. We make great computers. They're beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. Want to buy one? Meh. And that's how most of us communicate. That's how most marketing is done. That's how most sales is done. And that's how most of us communicate interpersonally. We say what we do. We say how we're different or how we better, and we expect some sort of behavior, a purchase, a vote, something like that. Here's our new law firm. We have the best lawyers with the biggest clients. We have, we always perform for our clients, do business with us. Here's our new car. It gets great gas mileage. It has, leather seats. Buy our car. But it's uninspiring. Here's how Apple actually communicates. Everything we do, we believe in challenging the status quo. We believe in thinking differently. The way we challenge the status quo is by making our products beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. We just happen to make great computers. Want to buy one? Totally different, right? You're ready to buy a computer from me. All I did was reverse the order of the information. What it proves to us is that people don't buy what you do, people buy why you do it. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. This explains why every single person in this room is perfectly comfortable buying a computer from Apple. But we're also perfectly comfortable buying an MP3 player from Apple, or a phone from Apple, or a DVR from Apple. But as I said before, Apple's just a computer company. There's nothing that distinguishes them structurally from any of their competitors. Their competitors are all equally qualified to make all of these products. In fact, they tried. A few years ago, Gateway came out with flat screen TVs. They're eminently qualified to make flat screen TVs. They've been making flat screen monitors for years. Nobody bought one. And Dell came out with MP3 players and PDAs. And they make great quality products, and they can make perfectly well-designed products, and nobody bought one. In fact, talking about it now, we can't even imagine buying an MP3 player from Dell. Why would you buy an MP3 player from a computer company? But we do it every day. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. The goal is not to do business with everybody who needs what you have. The goal is to do business with people who believe what you believe. Here's the best part. None of what I'm telling you is my opinion. It's all grounded in the tenets of biology, not psychology, biology. If you look at a cross-section of the human brain, looking from the top down, what you see is the human brain is actually broken into three major components that correlate perfectly with the golden circle. Our newest brain, our Homo sapien brain, our neocortex, corresponds with the what level. The neocortex is responsible for all of our rational and analytical thought and language. The middle two sections make up our limbic brains, and our limbic brains are responsible for all of our feelings, like trust and loyalty. It's also responsible for all human behavior, all decision-making, and it has no capacity for language. In other words, when we communicate from the outside in, yes, people can understand vast amounts of complicated information like features and benefits and facts and figures. It just doesn't drive behavior. When we communicate from the inside out, we're talking directly to the part of the brain that controls behavior, and then we allow people to rationalize it with the tangible things we say and do. This is where gut decisions come from. Sometimes you can give somebody all the facts and your figures, and they say, I know what all the facts and details say, but it just doesn't feel right. Why would we use that verb? It doesn't feel right, because the part of the brain that controls decision-making doesn't control language. And the best we can muster up is, I don't know, it just doesn't feel right. Or sometimes you say you're leading with your heart or you're leading with your soul. Well, I hate to break it to you, those aren't other body parts controlling your behavior. It's all happening here in your limbic brain, the part of the brain that controls decision-making and not language. But if you don't know why you do what you do, and people respond to why you do what you do, then how will you ever get people to vote for you or buy something from you, or more importantly, be loyal and want to be a part of what it is that you do? Again, the goal is not just to sell people who need what you have. The goal is to sell to people who believe what you believe. The goal is not just to hire people who need a job. It's to hire people who believe what you believe. I always say that, there's if you hire people just because they can do a job, they'll work for your money. But if you hire people who believe what you believe, they work for you with blood and sweat and tears. And nowhere else is there a better example of this than with the Wright brothers. Most people don't know about Samuel Pierpont Langley. And back in the early 20th century, the pursuit of powered man flight was like the .com of the day. Everybody was trying it. And Samuel Pierpont Langley had what we assume to be the recipe for success. I mean, even now, you ask people, why did your product or why did your company fail? And people always give you the same permutation of the same three things. Undercapitalized, the wrong people, bad market conditions. It's always the same three things. So let's explore that. Samuel Pierpont Langley was given $50,000 by the War Department to figure out this flying machine. Money was no problem. He held a seat at Harvard and worked at the Smithsonian and was extremely well connected. He knew all the big minds of the day. He hired the best minds money could find, and the market conditions were fantastic. The New York Times followed him around everywhere, and everyone was rooting for Langley. And how come we've never heard of Samuel Pierpont Langley? A few hundred miles away in Dayton, Ohio, Orville and Wilbur Wright. They had none of what we consider to be the recipe for success. They had no money. They paid for their dream with the proceeds from their bicycle shop. Not a single person on the Wright brothers team had a college education, not even Orville or Wilbur. And the New York Times followed them around nowhere. The difference was Orville and Wilbur were driven by a cause, by a purpose, by a belief. They believed that if they could figure out this flying machine, it'll change the course of the world. Samuel Pierpont Langley was different. He wanted to be rich and he wanted to be famous. He was in pursuit of the result. He was in pursuit of the riches. And lo and behold, look what happened. The people who believed in the Wright brothers' dream worked with them with blood and sweat and tears. The others just worked for the paycheck. And they tell stories of how every time the Wright brothers went out, they would have to take 5 sets of parts because that's how many times they would crash before they came in for supper. And eventually on December 17th, 1903, the Wright brothers took flight. And no one was there to even experience it. We found out about it a few days later. And further proof that Langley was motivated by the wrong thing, the day the Wright brothers took flight, he quit. He could have said, that's an amazing discovery, guys. Now we'll improve upon your technology. But he didn't. He wasn't first. He didn't get rich. He didn't get famous. So he quit. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And if you talk about what you believe, you will attract those who believe what you believe. Well, why is it important to attract those who believe what you believe? Something called the law of diffusion of innovation. And if you don't know the law, you definitely know the terminology. The first 2.5% of our population are our innovators. The next 13.5% of our population are our early adopters. The next 34% are your early majority, your late majority, and your laggards. The only reason these people buy touch-tone phones is because you can't buy rotary phones anymore. We all sit at various places at various times on the scale, but what the law of diffusion of innovation tells us is that if you want mass market success or mass market acceptance of an idea, you cannot have it until you achieve this tipping point between 15 and 18% market penetration, and then the system tips. And I love asking businesses, what's your conversion on new business? And they love to tell you, oh, it's about 10% proudly. Well, you can trip over 10% of the customers. We all have about 10% who just get it. That's how we describe them, right? That's like that gut feeling. Oh, they just get it. The problem is, how do you find the ones that just get it before you're doing business with them versus the ones who don't get it? So it's this here, this little gap that you have to close, as Jeffrey Moore calls it, crossing the chasm. Because you see, the early majority will not try something until someone else has tried it first. And these guys, the innovators and the early adopters, they're comfortable making those gut decisions. They're more comfortable making those intuitive decisions that are driven by what they believe about the world. and not just what product is available. These are the people who stood online for 6 hours to buy an iPhone when they first came out, when you could have just walked into the store the next week and bought one off the shelf. These are the people who spent $40,000 on flat screen TVs when they first came out, even though the technology was substandard. And by the way, they didn't do it because the technology was so great. They did it for themselves. It's because they wanted to be first. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And what you do simply proves what you believe. In fact, people will do the things that prove what they believe. The reason that person bought the iPhone in the first 6 hours or stood in line for 6 hours was because of what they believed about the world and how they wanted everybody to see them. They were first. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. So let me give you a famous example, a famous failure and a famous success of the law of diffusion of innovation. First, the famous failure. It's a commercial example. As we said before a second ago, the recipe for success is money and the right people and the right marketing conditions, right? You should have success then. Look at TiVo. From the time TiVo came out about 8 or 9 years ago to this current day, they are the single highest quality product on the market. Hands down, there is no dispute. They were extremely well funded. Market conditions were fantastic. I mean, we use TiVo as a verb. I TiVo stuff on my piece of junk Time Warner DVR all the time. But TiVo is a commercial failure. They've never made money. And when they went IPO, their stock was at about $30 or $40 and then plummeted, and it's never traded above 10. In fact, I don't think it's even traded above 6, except for a couple of little spikes. Because you see, when TiVo launched their product, they told us all what they had. They said, we have a product that pauses live TV, skips commercials, rewinds live TV, and memorizes your viewing habits without you even asking. And the cynical majority said, we don't believe you. We don't need it. We don't like it. You're scaring us. What if they had said, if you're the kind of person who likes to have total control over every aspect of your life, boy, do we have a product for you. It pauses live TV, skips commercials, memorizes your viewing habits, et cetera, et cetera. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it, and what you do simply serves as the proof of what you believe. Now let me give you a successful example of the law of diffusion of innovation. In the summer of 1963, 250,000 people showed up on the Mall in Washington to hear Dr. King speak. They sent out no invitations, and there was no website to check the date. How do you do that? Well, Dr. King wasn't the only man in America who was a great orator. He wasn't the only man in America who suffered in a pre-civil rights America. In fact, some of his ideas were bad, but he had a gift. He didn't go around telling people what needed to change in America. He went around and told people what he believed. I believe, I believe, I believe, he told people. And people who believed what he believed took his cause and they made it their own, and they told people. And some of those people created structures to get the word out to even more people. And lo and behold, 250,000 people showed up on the right day, on the right time to hear him speak. How many of them showed up for him? 0. They showed up for themselves. It's what they believed about America that got them to travel on a bus for 8 hours to stand in the sun in Washington in the middle of August. It's what they believed. And it wasn't about black versus white. 25% of the audience was white. Dr. King believed that there are 2 types of laws in this world, those that are made by a higher authority and those that are made by man. And not until all the laws that are made by man are consistent with the laws that are made by the higher authority will we live in a just world. It just so happens that the civil rights movement was the perfect thing to help him bring his cause to life. We followed not for him, but for ourselves. And by the way, he gave the I have a dream speech, not the I have a plan speech. Listen to politicians now with their comprehensive 12-point plans. They're not inspiring anybody. Because there are leaders and there are those who lead. Leaders hold a position of power or authority, but those who lead inspire us. Whether they're individuals or organizations, we follow those who lead, not because we have to, but because we want to. We follow those who lead, not for them, but for ourselves. And it's those who start with why that have the ability to inspire those around them or find others who inspire them. Thank you very much.
Oh, let's see if I can get past this here. Sometimes when you have a video on these Zooms, let's see here. Basically, I wanted to just to see what did everybody think of that? You guys understand what I was wanting to get at on that? So, let's go back to the sharing the screen. So what did he mean by, I thought what I was really inspired by what he talked about is it's not psychology, it's physiology, it's physical. Our brains only operate with emotion. Like when it doesn't feel right, something's not right. And so when you're talking to customers or clients, I want you to think back on what classes did not work and what classes did work. And you feel like maybe you did the same thing. And I know for myself, when I teach a class and I'm all about inspiration and the cause is bigger than myself, like when I talk about we help the world heal and how corrupt our medical system is and how frustrating it is that they're not healing people, but these oils do make a huge impact, then people see something bigger than it's not about me. It's about what they need to believe and what they want to take action with. And so when we're looking at the limbic system, the amygdala is inside the brain. This is where the why is. This is the reptile part of the brain where we don't actually have language for it. And that's really important to understand and know that we're operating. We want to get to the limbic part of the brain when we're teaching classes and helping people with their business. You guys do that in India. I feel that you have the higher power of God on your side, right? Where we know that these oils are a gift from God, and that makes a huge impact and difference. So when we're going through and talking about all the stuff where you're reaching to the emotion of people, but I bet you didn't realize that's what you were doing, and that's why you have success. And when you don't have success, we make it about ourselves. We make it about we're not good enough or nobody listens to us or all those conversations that we grew up with. Everybody has them. And I'm going to show you another video about Martin Luther King talking about fear of him not being good enough and the fear that he has to keep setting aside so that he can be out there giving the mission and the cause that's bigger than himself. And that is what we're doing here. And when we talk about the 90-day Silver Club program being over in 7 days, I want to challenge you that it's never over. I want to challenge you that this mission is bigger than just making money. This mission, we want to help heal the world. We want to make a huge difference. And so maybe sometimes we get low in energy when things don't go well or, oh, we've been working so hard. And I like to tell my clients, like, started to think about what is that emotion, right? The not having energy what did I pick up? Um, let's see, I look up my emotion book and feeling are you feeling motivated or powerless, right? So the commonality of that is energy. And how do you keep your energy going when a program stops? Is that your motivation, you're motivating into something. Energy is something that jizing, you energize it, you enter a jizing mode. So when you break down the words, it's really powerful. And so energizing is the emotions. Hang on just a second. the energizing oil that I wanted you to look at was supermint. When I think about supermint and how this oil has so many amazing properties, I actually broke this down with the oil as well. But I want you to look deeper with the energized emotion. What is weighing you down? What aspects of my life deplete my energy? What will it take to regain my motivation and enthusiasm? Well, sometimes when we look at our why, it's beyond our emotions, it's beyond ourself. When we make it about us, then it becomes very heavy and difficult. We are in a constant battle in our brain. 20% of our brain is where the positive side is, and 80% of our brain is where the negative is. And that negative pulls and tugs. It's people in our family that say, "Oh my God, I can't wait till you're done with that silver club," or they're not very supportive. And I'm going to tell you, my husband yesterday was not being very supportive with me. Do you guys have people in your life that sometimes really drag you down? And he was really frustrated because I'd been so busy making soaps and lotions that the kitchen was really messy, and he got really mad at me. And that just really weighs me down. Those kind of things. I want to be all things to all people, but it hurts, right? And so, how do we focus on the front side of the brain where the positive side is? And we have these beautiful oils to keep supporting us and making those transactional emotion part and living in that 20% of our brain. We are special. We have 20% of our brain where we live in the most, and we make a difference, we make an impact. So, ask yourself, what is weighing you down? What aspects of my life deplete my energy? What will it take for me to regain my motion, my motivation, and enthusiasm? I want you just to take a minute. Now, if you have supermint, does anybody have supermint in their house? Run and grab it. Grab the supermint and put some on. Go ahead and take a breathe in. Rub it in your hand and breathe it in. And I want you to take a minute and visualize. Imagine your feet anchored to the earth and all the weight of depleting energy draining from you. Like all that stuff, those negative conversations and the doubts that we have in our mind and the difficulties that we make it and all these things. I want you to just release all that through your feet into the earth and let God take them. Give them to God. He wants the most for you. Feel the earth's energy flowing through you, revitalizing your body and spirit. God is lighting your light. See yourself stay connected with the infinite flow of energy from God, allowing it to empower you with every step. Visualize it reigniting your passion and re energizing your purpose. Isn't that just amazing? So, if we can really thank God for where we are today, for all the challenges. Thank God for all the things that we've been going through as as lessons that we know what to do and what not to do, and that we can polish our approach. And really, it's not about us, it's about we help the world heal. And we go to the next step, declare, I am now filled with boundless energy and vitality, that you have everything that God has given you to make a huge impact and difference for the world. So, with green mandarin, this oil is the oil of pure potential. Did you have a thought, Satrangala? Would you like to make a comment or anything? Anybody? Okay. To go ahead and speak up whenever you want to or type in the chat. Totally, totally welcome to do that. So, green mandarin is the oil of pure potential, and I suggest you take that out and use this wildly. This is a beautiful oil. It's the unripe fruit of the mandarin. This is the greenness, the richness, the characteristics with its ripe counterpart. Its excellent tonic aid in individuals in returning to the childhood delight and simplicity, Green mandarin's bright and cheerful aroma helps us all to remember the budding excitement that they once felt about life. In adulthood, individuals often feel trapped or limited by their own belief system. This oil reminds individuals that they have direct access to pure potential and boundless opportunities. It encourages all to experience joy in the journey and never stop becoming who you are. When individuals feeling weighted down by emotional scars, self doubt, or failure, green mandarin prompts them to hearken back to the time before they were encumbered by the baggage. It reminds them to reconnect their inner child whose heart was open and fearless. It reassures that fear is temporary and abundant possibilities await those who dare to dream. Green mandarin reminds that wonder and hope are food for the soul and imparts its encumbrance for fully living life. So, this counteracts the limiting belief, negative emotions that we have over here. The negative emotions and limited belief, feeling trapped, fearful, doubted, burdened, tired, and it brings in limitless wonder, hope, fearlessness. And so, this is a beautiful oil. I encourage you to reach out to this oil and use it endlessly. Okay. So when the pain of your current circumstances is greater than the perceived pain of change, you will change. So you need to go through these exercises and things during the Silver Club that actually help us come out the other side with amazing results. And all of you have been working so hard and going through all these challenges. And really, I just want to acknowledge every single one of you for being an incredible human being for the world. And every person you've touched, you've made a huge impact, more so than you'll never know. And a lot of times it takes 6 months for people to wake up to the oils and go, oh my gosh, this is just an incredible thing. I'm so thankful for my leader who reached out to me and shared me these beautiful oils. Okay, so we've gone through the Silver Club. Now I want to know if you're present to where your points are. Where are you with the goal tracking for the Silver Club? Satrangala, do you know, or Osala, do you know where you are with your point system right now? Where you are with the Silver Club ratings? Hi.
Uh,
No?
we are not calculating.
Um, so you got the personal registrations, which is kind of easy to figure out, how many registrations you've done, as far as the points that they've enrolled with and so on, right? I know you've done really well with your enrollments. And then the team registrations, they count as well, right? So you get a lot of points for whatever they enroll with and stuff like that. So this is something you could probably manually figure out pretty easily. And then go back and the people that you've enrolled. Now, this is LRP orders. They're not saying specifically if this is a person you enrolled during the Silver Club or if it's the um, the point system that you have for the bonus, the enhancement the enrollments we do over the year. I never did get a clarification on this, but I do believe it's the last 12 months. And those people you've enrolled, if they place an LRP order during the Silver Club, then you're going to be able to get some points for that. Look at it's a higher point. You get 8 points for this. Now, this is something that helps you maintain your loyalty reward program. I would go back and look at everybody that you've enrolled in the loyalty reward program or in the Silver Club and make sure that they're doing an LRP order. Get them doing that today. If you haven't got them
Mhm.
going on that, this is something where you can gain a lot of points in this program to really reach up, right? And I don't think I will guarantee you that probably most people in the other parts of India, don't have very many points in this because I know that this is where the whole rank advancement part starts happening. So you need to be able to be looking at your rank and seeing who's in your downline and who has been placing orders and not. And look at you get points, 4 points if it's between 50 and 99, 8 if it's over 100. This is a big deal, you guys. So I would spend some time looking at this, maybe going through the computer in the back office tonight before you go to sleep and really looking at that. And then we haven't seen too much rank advancement going on at the moment. And so, Trangala, I believe in you. I know you can get to silver. What do you think?
Yeah,
Yeah.
this one we have tried to make some structure, but that is not working again.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, look at the other leg that you're working on that's not rising up and look at the LRP orders. See if you can go through and focus on LRP orders on that particular leg because you just need, you need 2 legs that get you to premier and then you need 3 legs to silver. So I would focus on premier first and try to rank up to premier. And then if you have your third leg, um, are your leaders in leg 1, 2, and 3, are they all active?
No.
Okay. So take a look at the ones that are not so active and then focus on that. And then the one that is active, have them do those phone calls as well so that they can rise up as well, right? And it would only take maybe 2 hours, 2 hours at the most in the morning just to call and say, hey, if you placed an LRP order between in the next 7 days between now, actually, I would give them 3 days. I wouldn't give them very much time so you know where you are before the close, right? In the next 3 days, if you place a 100 PV LRP order, look at your oils if you have any extra oils and say, I will give you this oil, or I'll give you some soap, or I'll give you an Aromatouch massage, things like that to build incentivize them to push them up and over the edge, okay? Does that sound like a game plan?
Mhm.
Yeah. Yes. Uh, Osala, how are you doing? How is your legs coming along? So, Trangla, is Osala on one of your legs? Or
No, we are cross-legged.
okay, all right. Okay. So again, just to remember the prizes that you win, if you are in these point system, and I believe you guys have been doing so well that I think you are in this point system structure. I don't know. I don't know how many points you guys have. So, but take a look tonight and go back and look at the LRP orders and focus on that right away because look at their bigger points and really see if we can get those LRP orders going, okay? And that would be a huge focus. Um, okay. Yeah, it does say points earned for new members' first 2 months of 100 LRP orders. So, um, yeah, that would be really powerful. Okay.
It's not easy to convince people to place their LRB, yeah, within that very particular month.
Yeah. Um, so going back and just having them place a lemon oil or a toothpaste, like, do they buy toothpaste? Even if it's just a toothpaste, and then the next month, if it's the correct X, have them buy something that's more of a consumable. And even if it's just a little bit small, like buy the toothpaste. Um, that that is another way because everybody brushes their teeth and needs toothpaste.
Mhm.
Yeah, and you'll get 2 points for that. That's a lot. Like, that seems like it's not very much, but it is a lot. And if you had 10 people order toothpaste, look at you're going to get 20 points. That adds up very quick. So even if you can get, so maybe the game plan would be trying to get 10 people to order toothpaste on your back. Wouldn't it be great if you got all the people you enrolled and your team enrolled ordering toothpaste this month in the next if you were able to do that, and if you how many enrollments have you had on your team, Satrangala? Have you had let's see, you've had 7 and 7, right? In the last 2 months? And then where are you at this month?
5.
Oh, 5. Wow. Okay, so if you had 14, 7 in the first month, 7 in the second, and you got all of them ordering toothpaste. It's same for the first 2 months here. I'm a little bit concerned about that. I would go through and look at who's already placed an order. If nobody's placed an order from June to July, right? So July, I'd look to see who enrolled in June, who's placed an LRP order in July. If you have nobody, then I don't know. Maybe call Shub and clarify that. Then but I would definitely still focus on it anyways, because then you're getting them working with a consumable that they will want to order from time to time. Okay, this is just good practice, right? We're talking about that kind of practice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I've got I took this screenshot last night, so it might not be the correct numbers here. So yeah, I see you have 5. That's And Osala, where are you at on here? I think I saw you. I saw you on here. I know your name isn't the same name on here, right? Um, so is this you right here, Osala? And Limasala, where are you at? Help me, Satrangala, they're not talking. Um, yeah, so look at how great everybody's doing though. This is just really a huge effort, I know. And I would really focus on,
I think not Asola, but Jisola, her name is.
yeah, right here. Yeah,
Yes.
okay. And what about Limasala?
Lamtala.
Right here, she is 2. Yay! And how was your downline, Limsala? How many people in your downline? How many enrollments do you have? See, it's really hard for me to know who's in whose downline when I look at this chart. Um,
Who is that?
do you have 7? Do you have anybody in your down? Hmm?
Sholula.
Huh? Go ahead.
Sholula is in which team?
I have Moas, I believe.
Just right above me.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Moa's cross line. I don't know specifically.
Oh,
So, but Satrangala, do you have your downline that is not in the Silver Club where you can take 2 of their enrollments? Do you have any of these enrollments as your downline?
no.
Okay. You're almost there though. You got a week left. You can make it happen, I'm sure.
I
How's
don't know. I'm trying hard, but only 1 week left. So whether I'll be able to make it or not.
yeah. Did So basically, going through the Silver Club is all about mindset, right? When we're talking about the mind, 80% of the back of the mind is the negative part, and then 20% is the positive. And if you declare it and speak it, you're overcoming one of the obstacles, which is mindset. You have the skills and you have the tools. This one here is the hardest one, I think, to overcome, to break through.
Mm-hmm.
So perseverance and action. Here's the quote. Good business demands tough decisions and unwavering follow through. Another quote. So when we look at the action and the perseverance, when we're looking at the skill set and the tool set and the perseverance being mindset, we have these systems, right? All these systems, the pipes program, all these things where we identify our good habits and our bad habits, what's working, what's not working, and keep polishing them up take time tonight, even if it's just a half hour before you go to bed, and really analyze yourself and be brutally honest with yourself on what you want to work on more or what didn't work so well. And take these last 7 days and go all out in them. Just go all out and really make that happen. So we have all these systems, right? Um, Entrepreneurial mindset, how to structure your team. So remember that in that video, your why must be bigger than your fear, right? And I know for myself, we all have fear. It's a normal part of our brain. It's the reptilian part of our brain. It's an emotion part of our brain that was from the cavemen days where they wanted to run away from the saber-toothed tiger, right? The the Bengal tiger is coming for you and you run, but there's no tiger in doTERRA. The tiger really is our own mind and our own fear that we create. And so here's the video of Martin Luther King talking about overcoming fear.
I must confess that there are those moments when I feel a sense of inadequacy as a symbol. Uh, it is never easy for one to accept the role of symbolism without going through constant moments of self-examination. And I must confess that there are moments when I begin to wonder whether I am adequate or whether I'm able to face all of the challenges and even the responsibilities of this particular position. I don't think anyone in a situation like this can go through it without confronting moments of real fear. But I have always had something that gave me an inner sense of assurance and an inner sense of security in the final analysis, even in the moments of loneliness. Something ultimately came to remind me that in this struggle, because it is basically right, because it is a thrust forward to achieve something not just for Negro people, but something that will save the whole of mankind. And when I have come to see these things, I always felt a sense of cosmic companionship, so that the loneliness and the fear have faded away because of a greater feeling of security because of commitment to a moral ideal. Well, in my days in Atlanta as a child, there was a pretty strict system of segregation. For instance, I could not use the swimming pool, so that for a long, long time I could not go in swimming until the YMCA was built, a Negro YMCA, and they had a swimming pool there. But certainly a Negro child in Atlanta could not go to any public park. I could not go to the so-called white schools. There were separate schools.
Well, I just wanted to just kind of make a point there that he has fear and to stand up for what he knew was more important than himself is what our mission is with doTERRA, right? And when we're going through and focusing on what's more important than ourselves, and of course, we all want to make money. We all want to be successful. That's a huge dream too, right? But being able to look at the cause and really polish your why. And I am constantly doing that. It's a big commitment for me to come to India. It costs me a ton of money. And but I know and believe and see the mission of making a difference in the world. And it takes consistency and it takes that momentum to be moving you forward. And so I want to challenge you that after, even after, let's say maybe some of you didn't graduate, right? That's okay. You did the program and keep that consistency and that momentum moving forward. Um, don't treat yourself as a failure, treat yourself as a success because you did it. And look at how many people who are members of doTERRA in India. I think I have 1,700 members in India. And like, look at you guys. How many did we have in the Silver Club? 15. So you are so much further along as far as when it comes to success and doing this business. But success isn't always about greatness. It's about the consistency. Consistent hard work leads to success. Greatness will come after all that. And, just remembering that we're here to help the world heal. And that is a powerful message, I think. So, anybody have any comments or thoughts, or hopefully this was inspiring for you today?
Just want to know regarding Silver Club, including the Indian participants, it's only 15 participants.
I think your question is how many are participating in the Silver Club all over India?
Yes.
I don't know that answer. I think there was about 50, but our team had 15,
Oh, okay.
which we had the most. We had the
Mm-hmm.
most participants on a team participate. Moa's team had the most. Well, I guess I should say, uh, Suzanne, because she's above all of us, right? But when you look at the legs and the teams, you guys have been incredible and working really hard and succeeding month through month. And I would have to just say you should really be proud of that and acknowledging yourself for that hard work. And we got 7 days left. Don't put your foot off the gas pedal. Keep moving. And even after the Silver Club is over, maybe go take yourself out to dinner or something. But get back on the bike and keep going. Keep building. Keep being consistent. Don't just take a break for 2 months, right? Be in that consistency because you've created momentum. And that momentum is where it really matters. That momentum, you don't want to stop. So, yeah. And I would say try to get as many people to the doTERRA convention as possible because that's going to make a huge impact too. When they get to travel, go on the train, talk to Rongson and Moa and Huke Lee and see if you guys can get a group together. And I'm going to tell you, don't wait for them. Do it yourself. So Trangala, have your family go. What would it be like if you had your family go with you? Your kids and people that you in your community, and that would be incredible. That would be a huge difference, and it's very inexpensive on the train. And hopefully, as you graduate, because I know you are going to graduate and, you get that extra money, that will be big. Now, I want to be sure, did everybody get their payouts? It should have happened a while ago. Just want to make sure. So, any other questions you have? Okay, well, I guess I'll go ahead and close the call today and keep up the amazing work, and we'll talk with you again. Please feel free to chat me anytime.
All right. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.